Alright, so I'm changing the tire on my SH150. Obviously this is the front tire. I actually already removed the valve core right here. Use the valve core tool. So I already removed that. So I forgot to video that. That's okay. Now I just need to take off the, so basically the tire's flat now. I just need to take off the tire. So normally, in the past, I always use soapy water with a spray bottle. I spray the, around the bead area. Then I could, open it up. This time though, I'm gonna try something new. I have this tire lube for installing and mounting tires. Removing and mounting tires. And this is very thick stuff. I tried it with a spray bottle, and it was a little bit too thick. I think it could spray, but it was like it didn't spray like a nice mist. It was like very clumpy because it's so thick. So I have this little dabbing thingamabob here. I'm just gonna stick it in here and just kind of shake the bottle, get it wet, so I could apply it along the bead. Yeah, so this stuff is pretty thick. Thick stuff right here. So go like so. Hopefully this, there's enough fluid there that way it can work its way down into the down into the bead. So I'm not sure if there is or not. I'm hoping there is. It's kind of dirty, and as you can see, that's from the tire because this thing was brand new. Was brand new a moment ago. So I have my Rabaconda tire changing machine here. Unfortunately, I can't use the axle piece right here because the axle on the scooters, they're too thin, and the Rabaconda one is not small enough to fit it. So that's too bad for me. I don't think I have anything that's thicker, so I can do a makeshift and holding it down with my feet on this side, so that way it doesn't move, like so. Right, basic counterbalance. No, this thing's a little bit too close. It's gonna hit the rim. I'm gonna back it up just a little bit. Oh, there it goes. Ooh, I almost fell over. Almost fell over. Okay, so once that's done, the rest of it should be pretty easy. It doesn't need much force. So actually, I don't even think I needed the. I'm not sure if I even needed the lube or not in that instance. Let's see, let me do this backside without the lube. I probably don't need it. Because, there's no way the lube could get in there with the bead seated in already. Yeah, thought about the same. So yeah, so you don't need a lube then in the beginning. Okay, so now that's off, I can start prying it off. And I use Motion Pro rim savers. So these will protect the rim from getting scratched up when I use the tire lever on them. All right, so I'm gonna start where the valve stem is. So the valve stem's right here. Start right alongside the valve stem. Actually, this is where I actually do need some lube. So actually, I should take these off first. Let me try to get some lube down in there, down into the bead down here. I didn't like dipping this thing back in there because it's dirty. Dipping it back into the clean bottle, into the clean fluid, I should say. But you gotta do what you gotta do. Eventually the dirtiness will, hopefully it's heavier than the lube itself, so it will drop down into the bottom of the bottle. So that way I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it. Okay, along the bead of the tire, so it should slip off really easily. So again, this is the first time I've used this lube. Well, I shouldn't say the first time. This is the second time I've used it. The first time I had a squirt bottle, and I just made a mess because it just didn't work very well with the squirt bottle. Okay, tire spoon. Oops. again, because I don't have the axle bolt to hold it in place. So theoretically, I actually don't even need this. I don't even need my tire machine. I was using it for this thing right here to unseat the bead easily. But also this leaves the tire a little bit higher, so I don't have to crunch down on the floor. And you know, when you crunch down on the floor too much, you know, your back is like, oh, my back is aching. So I save my back a little bit. And you see what I'm doing? Slowly working the tire spoon. Also got the middle one. Now we actually remove the middle rim saver. Slide over here on this side. Slide it over as much as I can. And then when you take the spoon, you want you don't want to take big chunks, like, you know, distance wise. That's too much. This is like 6 inches. You want to be as close as you can. Obviously, let's see if you can go into this viewer here. Obviously, you can't just go right in here. It's best, I would say the best spot is actually right about right there. And the reason why I say right here is because if you pay attention to how the rim or the tire is down in the rim there, and it comes up over the rim, right in this area right here, right before it starts to go up over the lip of the rim, right in this area here, there's actually a little air gap right there. So the tire spring will actually fit right in there. So over here, there's an air gap between the lip of the rim and the tire, but there's no air gap between the bead of the tire and the actual inside of the rim itself, the valley of the rim. But over here, because it's lifted up a little bit, between the bead and the valley, there's actually is a gap. But there's less gap between the bead and the lip. So right here, you have to kind of squeeze down a little bit. Once you pass that, then you get into that little air gap that's right in there. That's why it's make it easy. And so this is only like what, 2-3 inches or so apart. This spot right here, where the air gap is. So right in there. So I felt kind of awkward holding it one hand like that. I don't think I even had it on the spot for you guys. So hopefully you guys got what I meant. Right in, right there. Yep. Fits right in. Get that air gap spot. My next thingamabob. Get my tire. My rim saver. So again, this is the method that's, you know, that will save your rim from getting all banged up. Get this one over here. Okay, I don't think I need the rim saver anymore. Or probably not. Yes, it's coming out pretty easily. So I could probably, from this point on, I could probably just pull it. Yeah, I could pull it, but let me make it easy on myself. If I do one more, then I could be able to pull it easy, I think. One more, let's see. Yeah, see that? Take off both. Take off all the spoons. Take off the rim savers. Change the angle so you guys can see a little better. So now we just pull it right off like this. So, alright. Okay, so that's one side. That's the easy side. The hard side is the underside. And I do the same thing. I start off where the valve core is, along the valve core. Actually, I need to lube the tire. So let me lube the tire from the back side. So let me flip this around. Actually, lube the tire with the tire lube. Tire lube. Lube the bead, I should say. Actually, I don't need to lube that much I don't even need to loop the whole thing. I just need to loop the like the first half or first 3/4 of where I start. Because the last part over here, it will just pop right off. Okay, get this back in like so. All right, so here you have to reach down underneath the tire and hook underneath the bottom tire. There's one, there's another one right next to it, a couple inches away. Two, I would say no more than 3 inches max. All right. Oops. Same thing over here. Okay. So lift, lift, lift. And now I definitely need to hold this one over here down because I'm going to remove this one here. And same thing with this one. The bead that's in here, that's in the valley, it's going to touch the actual in the valley of the rim, inside of the rim. Then as it moves up over the lip of the rim here, right in the spot where right below the lip, this transition part from the valley up to the lip, there's a little bit of an air gap right there. That's where you want to aim. That's where the spoon will fit right in real nicely. So I usually go from an angle like so, down into the valley instead of like this. If you're like this, you're already above the valley right here because the bead's already out. Alright, so angle in this way, right where that air gap is, and I actually pivot the lever right here on the top of the top bead, right? And it should hook right into that air gap. If you do it right. Oops. Or if you're in the right spot. Yeah, there it goes. Hooks right into the air gap. Like so. Same thing with this side. Right. Angle. Pivot. Oops. Pivot. Oops, I missed it. Pivot. No, I almost had it right there. Pivot. Again, you have to be right at the right location where the air gap is. Otherwise, you will miss that hook. Let me free up my hands. Let me put my feet right here to hold these two down. Let's see the pivot. The air gap is. Let's see. Well, actually, the air gap is like right over here. It's actually about 3, maybe even 4 inches away. I've got to move the bottom bead so that way it's at the center of the valley. Because when you look at the rim, the inside of the rim, so let's just say this, my fingers here, this is the lip right here, so the tire comes on like that. So the rim is a valley like this, so the center of the valley is the lowest point. You want to get that bead into the center, the lowest point, so that will give you the most slack. So wherever it's hooked on the opposite side, that should be down in the center, okay? Like so. Let's see where. Let me stick my finger down here so I can feel where that air gap is. So it's right about, yeah, it's right about right here. So I would say that's about 3 inches. It's a little bit of an air gap. Have to angle this thing just right. Sometimes even you have to reach from the bottom and kind of push the tire up onto the spoon, so that way it could hook it. And that's what I just did right there. Because the air gap is pretty, even when I say air gap, it's a very small gap. Very, it's like only like a few millimeters. Let's see, I think this is enough. This might be enough. I think I just pull. Yeah, I can just pull on my tire right here. Push down on the rim and pull up on the tire. So that's it. That's how you remove the tire. All right. So that's removing a tire without any, without marring up your rim. Now these rim savers, these are meant for dirt bikes and enduro bikes. So on a small wheel like this is a 16-inch rim. It's not so bad because the curvature is right, almost right there. But when I used this on my other scooter, my smaller scooter that I had, the small wheel is a 10-inch. 10 inches is too small. It's like this thing is, the curvature, the radius of this is too big, and it doesn't really fit very well. Even a 12-inch, it's a little bit too small for this. But the 16-inch is actually not so bad. Okay, that's it. So now I'm actually gonna balance this wheel without the tire. So I'm gonna check the balance. There's a wheel balance right here from Honda. So I want to see how balanced this is. But anyways, that's a different video. Thanks for watching.